October. So we're really close to the election.
22 days.
22 days away. And we hope you're enjoying everything. We're just,
It's a lot to sit back and pop open with your popcorn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild. It's a lot going on.
So what you got going on today, Russ?
Well, I was gonna say, I want to start off by just saying, I am so incredibly relieved that there are 0 celebrities that stayed and hung out at Diddy's after parties. Apparently, it was just him by himself.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but people
early.
are into weird stuff.
Yeah.
So looks like Diddy's a one-man band.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so you did watch the Lady of the Night or whatever on Soft White Underbelly? Did you watch the P. Diddy? Oh, dude.
Oh, no. I did.
Yeah. So she, first of all, she seemed very legit. And he had started off this new video saying that she had tried to tell him this P. Diddy story before, but
he
she
said,
couldn't.
Let me get it on camera.
Yeah. And so now he called her back and she said, I kept saying, like, not wanting to name names and all that kind of stuff. But she said that she was with a prince. And you know how those Arabian princes will hire a lot of those, prostitutes and things like that.
Yeah,
so
I know well.
That's what I've heard anyway. But so anyway, so she was hired by him, and so she had been hanging out with this prince for like 3 or 4 weeks, and so he tells her, we're gonna go to Diddy party. So her and her friend and this Arabian prince are invited, and they go. And she said that about halfway through, she said she walked in and everybody's just jamming, and there was like pot smoking and some stuff like that, but just normal partying.
Right.
Well, then she said about halfway through, Sean Diddy's, whatever his name is, his son picked her out.
Christian or
one of them.
He's got Christian and of course I'm not.
One of them is not his bio son though. There's 2 bio sons and one that like he helped raise.
But he picked her out.
But anyways, one of the sons picks her out, and she said she was one of the only black girls. The rest of them were like white models and from other countries and stuff. And so anyway, so he comes over to her, and she's not a drug user or anything, and she said, I've been through enough crap in my life to know when things are really
Getting
weird.
Strange,
yeah. In fact, I think she was under the guise that maybe she could sing for Diddy, because she was also a starving artist and wanted to sing and stuff like that. So anyway, so then she said that they tried to talk her into coming into the inner part of the house, and but they didn't want her friend. So then she's like, well, I don't want to just leave my girlfriend hanging,
Right.
So then she said Diddy comes over to her and just starts rubbing all over her body and trying to talk her into coming in, trying to give her a shot of something.
Mouth all open. That'd be creeping me out. Can you
bitty,
shut your mouth?
Little bitty dead eyes. Yeah, he's not attractive.
His
but
anyway,
eyes. So then she said finally it was so much pressure that she was just like, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I swear to Jesus, Russell, she says that she saw kids.
Oh. Okay.
Kids in there.
Oh.
She says at first she starts off. Y'all will have to watch it. It's Soft White Underbelly. You can go look her up. It was just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
At first she says little people is how she framed
That's
it.
That's right. I saw a clip of that.
And then she says, but little people in the sense that they were young people with a lot of makeup on, and that she was wondering why their parents were not there.
Right, and they were looking like little dolls.
Little Japanese dolls and stuff.
And were they? Did she say the ethnicity of them, or she just said they were little kids?
She just said that they were dressed up as a certain Japanese cartoon.
The only reason I ask is because it makes me curious to know if he's shipping in children from other countries,
right?
Because
and they say that that's the thing. They say when I said the other day when the cabal, the black cabal and the white cabal, and you're like, I think it's all the same cabal. It's true. What I was meaning is that there's a hip hop part of that.
Yeah,
section.
Like a hip hop faction of the Illuminati or whatever you want to call it,
where he controlled a lot of the music. And that.
I get that.
And so there's reports that was part of how they took, sex trafficked and drug trafficked, is because they would pour that liquid
cocaine.
Yeah, they would pour it into his vodka bottles and then ship it overseas.
And he had he had a whole, liquor company, which I was watching something too. It's very interesting because all of these celebrities, they want to open their own liquor company.
Yeah.
It's like one of the things
The
they
new
go,
thing
yeah,
to
well, I'm
do.
going to start a bourbon brand or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
I find that very interesting.
Because even that blonde, what's her name? Blake Lively.
Yeah.
She has a
Yeah.
beer, and her husband has like
Yeah.
a liquor, or
He's
did. I don't know if he still has.
Yeah, I
it.
think he had like a Scotch company or something called Aviation
And
or
then-
something like that.
Oh gosh, who's the
They
guy?
all do.
The UFC guy. He's got a huge proper.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson's got a tequila company.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
dude. They all. I don't know what the big deal is with that.
I
Let's.
don't know. But anyway, so yeah, she was saying that in her experience, she said she actually said P. Diddy was with some man in front of her.
Really, yeah.
And that it was just an orgy. It was a big orgy with a bunch of drugs and a bunch of debauchery,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But then I'm like, well, if it's just a bunch of grown people having an orgy,
Right.
that's not a gross
Who cares?
law.
Yeah, I mean.
So there's got to be a lot more.
And then she
I would
dropped in
assume.
the little people.
So, and then she dropped in the little people, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so crazy. And there's other reports of underage people coming out,
Yeah,
saying they hung out with him.
It's like when you hit the line of underage people, there's a problem, and then the blackmailing.
yes,
You know, you can't really blackmail
Yeah.
people like that.
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
I think that's against the law.
And it makes so much more sense too if you're at a Diddy party and rubbing elbows, and somebody got you mixed up and got you with some
Right.
girl that's only 17, or you
Right.
know, that you don't want anyone finding that stuff out.
That's
But
why I'm glad my hand modeling career never took off.
I know exactly,
Because I could
Me
have
too.
very well been there, and
I
who
mean-
knows?
God knows I wanted to be a model.
I've had plenty, too many blackout nights before.
You definitely would have been trafficked.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was really interesting. And then, but y'all go watch it because it's crazy. And it's not very
gotta watch it,
long.
yeah.
But
I need to
she
check that out.
definitely had. And I was gonna say something else about that. But yeah, he just the idea. Oh, that it goes up top to like
Yeah.
Clive Davis and all of those people. And then if you even watch like Shirley Temple interviews back in the day,
Yes,
she
I've seen
talks
that.
about how, you know, she was groomed.
Yeah.
And so it's a Hollywood thing.
It's a whole
Which
Hollywood
makes more
celebrity
sense
thing.
now. Why did we ever
And then-
believe it wasn't?
I don't know. I
We're
just
like, all these guys are so good.
I didn't know about it. Yeah.
They're celebrities, and meanwhile, like I was thinking about that and how they all, like the big famous ones, did the Pfizer commercials when COVID hit. And
Yeah.
how even they're in on that propaganda.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy, and that they realize that they're so influential. How many people went and got COVID shots because a celebrity told them to?
Right. I know.
But maybe that veil's been broken. I think maybe that.
I think it is. I mean, man, I used to love movies. My dream was to be on Saturday Night Live. You know that.
Yeah.
And now I look back and I'm like, I could care less about celebrities now.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
I'm like, dude, you know, who cares?
Yeah.
So and so.
Well, they've lost the
Bennifer
luster.
broke up. Who cares?
Yeah.
But the only reason I care now is because I'm like, well, what's J-Lo hiding? Now that's
Yeah.
instead of going like, well, you know,
Right.
which I wasn't really ever into celebrity couples, but like instead of going, oh well, yeah, they're doing this and this award show's coming on now. I'm
Yeah.
like, what kind of shit are
Well,
they doing
think
behind the
about
scenes?
Travis and
Taylor
Swift.
Yeah, that whole.
God only knows what they're hiding. She works hard for the government, honey.
Yeah,
she
you think
works
so?
hard
Yeah.
for the government. Yes.
Do you think that relationship was planned
I think it was
To-
I
to
think a
kinda
lot
bring
of
in
those
maybe bring in some more
Mel.
yes
Football
the
player.
more football watching people.
Could be because
Yeah.
I mean that's what they seem to be doing. They seem to be using these big powerful people to keep an eye on other celebrities.
So
So,
corral
you know,
them like sheep.
Yeah, corral them
They're
like
like-
sheep.
They're like the sheepdogs.
Yeah.
Corralling people.
Yeah, exactly. And sheep have the smallest brains.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's that.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, that's like I was saying that there was that Pierce Morgan with that Jaguar Wright chick.
Yes.
The thing, she's so intense, and I'm a
She's
pretty
so
good
good.
judge of character.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so, and I did hear somebody else on another podcast say, two things can be true at once.
Right.
Like, she
She
you
can
know,
be crazy.
yeah, Diddy could be a creeper.
Right.
Like we all know. It's
Right.
that's pretty out of the bag now.
Yeah.
But then she could also be trying to hang on to her 15 minutes of fame.
Right.
You know?
Well, and she's an old school, like, singer-songwriter,
She's been
I
out
think,
talking about it for a long time.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I've been watching her talk about celebrities for a couple of years now.
It all is.
Because she's been correct. Like, she has said some really crazy things. She said they groomed Justin Bieber. She says that Usher. That he had a hospital trip to the hospital. Because,
I did hear about that.
Yeah.
And that he spread to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And that he's been injured by like P. Diddy and them and all the kinds of stuff. So, I mean, and so far it seems to be checking out. She swears that Kim Porter was most likely killed, not just died.
What about that Nick Carter guy?
Which one was that?
That was the little brother of the dude that was in Backstreet Boys. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah, that dude,
Yeah.
I think went through. Well, he said that his mom tried to get him to make false allegations against Michael.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah, man.
And then turns out, like, Michael Jackson's actually the innocent one and everything.
Dude, I think so, because when you look at the facts and you realize that he had taken control of half of Sony and he got the rights to the Beatles, they were like, this dude's got too much power.
I know.
It all makes sense.
I know.
Dude, it's crazy.
And then you think about, like, the Corey Hames of the world and how they came out saying that section of Hollywood was doing them.
Yeah.
And Nickelodeon and all of those pedophiles.
It's all busting open.
What in the world, though?
It's all busting.
I mean,
what's interesting is that it's been kept quiet by so many people for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was reading something about Errol Flynn, who was an old Hollywood star back in the 50s. And they were talking about how he had mass parties of debauchery and stuff. Right. But it didn't say anything about children or grooming people. Right. So, but it was interesting. It's been going on.
Understand that like somebody gets rich and you have the means to do whatever your perverted mind wants to. I mean, that's scary in itself. It is. But then when you bring in children, obviously that takes it to a whole different level. Wow. Yeah. But I mean, just the idea that instead of doing, like what we always talk about, instead of doing good, how we're all raised, pretty basic, good morals.
Have some morals. Yeah. And you're not religious, you try to at least be ethical.
Exactly. And then come to find out, the more money they get, the more...
Mo money, mo problems.
It's just, I don't know.
Mo money, mo problems.
It's scary. It's really scary.
It's nuts. Well,
but I love that it's coming apart. I mean, that's one thing I have to say.
It's interesting.
Is watching all of these systems and the way that they're all working and the way at the same time people are starting to go, oh my God, this is what's really going on.
It's the awakening. Well, that's what I'm saying too. And it's very interesting how much power Beyonce and Jay-Z have when they're getting Pierce Morgan to cut his show called Uncensored and apologize for that Jaguar Wright chick.
Right. And so to me, that's like, they obviously have a lot to hide.
Yeah.
Because why else? And I mean, so I was looking into that too. I didn't realize that. So this is my guess. Tupac and Biggie, like if they were taken out by Puff Daddy and all those people, that it was because they were legitimately in these gangs, maybe, because they really were gangsters. Yeah. Where then Jay-Z and P. Diddy and them came up and they weren't necessarily, they were just right up under them. They were just rappers around the streets there or whatever.
Well, even P. Diddy's story is kind of strange, you know? I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere and Clive Owen started helping him out. And
it's like, where do you
he started Bad Boy.
I think it's their parents, though. Right?
Yeah, he was in that aura, you know, that
circle.
Arena,
Yeah. But they say that it all has to do with their parents, too.
Right.
That if you keep looking into it, that it was like P. Diddy's parents were into some debauchery.
Right. Well, and that's what I had heard about Lady Gaga. Like, they said her mom was a part of the CIA, I want to say. Well, so it's very, very interesting. Dude. Yeah. Just like Jim Morrison, they said his dad was in the CIA.
Well, he was.
Yeah.
He was a big army guy or military guy.
It's crazy, bro.
But yeah, they say Lady Gaga and her dad was also like a part of, or still is a part of the Catholic Church, but there might be something to that too.
Well, and I saw her dad on Fox News one day, and he was talking about because doesn't he own a bunch of restaurants in New York?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They're pretty
So he was talking about, and that was during the COVID situation.
I just was watching Tim Dillon the other day, and he was talking about how Lady Gaga had to sacrifice somebody else too. You know how they all say that
Yeah.
they have to sacrifice somebody? It was some girl coming up at the same time who fell off a roof. I was like, this is the weirdest cult. Hollywood is the weirdest cult ever.
Yeah, his review of that new Joker movie was pretty funny.
It was hilarious.
And
I think I'm gonna like it because I like musicals, but
Yeah.
Ryan's already like, oh, it's gonna be terrible.
I don't know why because the first one with Joaquin was pretty cool.
Good,
I was
yeah.
like, well, this is a pretty interesting take on Joker.
Yeah.
And now they turn it into a musical
I
because they
know.
gotta have Lady Gaga.
I don't know why,
And I'm like-
unless it's just that whole Hollywood circle, you know.
Maybe he's just trying something different, but it looks like he should have done another remake instead.
Yeah, I don't think
So many remakes.
I'll probably
so
love
little
it.
time. They keep talking about doing the Goonies too, and I'm like,
No.
don't. The
Don't
Goonies
you
and
dare mess with the Goonies.
the Goonies and the Lost Boys. Those two
I heard
movies.
it's a sequel though, because I didn't tell you. I know I just interrupted you. I didn't tell you we rented Beetlejuice, and it is fantastic.
Was it
The
good?
new one, yes. So I'm hoping
it on
if
Amazon
Goonies
Prime?
does it, they'll have all the same people. It'll be like that.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, it's on Prime. You can probably watch it tonight. Yeah, it was so good though.
Yeah. Okay.
It
Good.
was old school.
Okay,
like Tim
good.
Burton old school.
Good.
So they kept it good.
That little Jenna Ortega chick. She's pretty.
She looks like
phenomenal.
she's 13 or 35. It's so weird.
That's how they
It's
roll
so
now.
strange.
That's how they roll now.
Yeah.
What's the substance?
Oh man, that was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. I'm telling you.
I'm sure there's some truth to that shit.
You've got to watch that when it comes out.
Okay.
It is. It's creepy.
I'll take a break from my Dateline.
I know. I
Um,
know. All we do is work and watch. I guess the news, really. I took a break
Yeah.
over the weekend.
I gotta take a break from the news myself.
Sunday, I took a break.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
haven't been, but sometimes I need to.
Well, I think we're gonna have to take a break because what if Kamala wins? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you guys, I have to wrap my head around that. If Kamala wins, which she could because they cheat and stuff.
I've seen so many people opening their eyes to the fact that
and the
it's
movement.
been 4 years of
Did you
shell.
see the Coachella, California audience that Trump
Yeah,
had?
how many people did
I
this?
don't know, but it was a lot.
Over 100,000.
Yeah. In California, Coachella,
Yes.
with the music festival.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
rad that
Yeah.
you would do that.
And I used to, I'd be like, dude, I would go to Coachella, bro.
Well, I just thought that was a neat place to have it.
Yeah, that
you
was
know, for him.
interesting. Well, so, and this is the thing, is now they've busted some dude that had a loaded weapon.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying a whole lot about it yet. Obviously, more stuff's coming out about it, but apparently he's super far right.
Right. He's a part, because I looked at his
And
Instagram
just
up.
completely anti-government
Anti-government,
This is what-
sovereign citizen.
is what they're saying so far.
And but on his Instagram, he's got pictures with RFK.
Yeah.
He's got pictures. So he anti-government, but obviously wrapped totally into government. I
Yeah,
mean,
this
guy
it's
thinks about.
confusing.
Yeah, and they don't know. I don't know if you saw the press release with the very interesting California sheriff guy that's in charge of it. Anyway. He was talking about how they already let him go. That he
The $5,000 bail.
Yeah.
They let him out.
Yeah, but it's California.
California.
I don't know.
Good Lord.
So, and he was saying, I think he
Bless their
got
hearts.
busted in a car, like a vehicle with weapons, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't like he was walking through somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. I believe so, as far as I know.
Yeah, so I don't know. He could just want attention. He could have
Yeah,
meant
now by
harm.
now.
He says, his statement I actually read, he says that his guns weren't illegal.
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I know, but then you hear about that, and in my head, I'm like, all right, Trump, we know that you're masculine. We know that you're a fighter. Well, sit the next 22 days out from the rallies.
He's not going to do
I
that.
know. I wish you would, though.
He
I'm like,
won't.
dude, let's, because we don't need something to happen.
I know, but I watched him on.
I'm down.
I watched him on Flagrant.
Yeah,
however you
Andrew
say
Schultz.
that.
Yeah, I listened to that.
And he asked him again, "Aren't you scared?" And Trump said, "No." He said, "I don't know if you understand this, but it is what it is."
Yeah, he's got that kind of mentality.
Like it's just he's at peace with it.
All right, tough guy.
I know, but I'm like,
Yeah,
But
sit
who's
this
going
one
to
out.
stop him from being shot after he wins the presidency? That's what I know. He's
That's
got
true.
4 more years
Yeah,
to go.
we have had some presidents
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I think he's obviously made peace with whatever's going to happen, because if he's willing to keep going and then go to Coachella, California, of all places.
Yeah, I know. I
would only be.
I saw this morning that Kamala has decided to agree to an interview with Fox, which we'll see if that even happens.
I mean, that was going to be amazing if so. I don't know what different things she would say.
Yeah, I know. Besides, I wouldn't change a thing.
I know.
Oh, okay, well, it's been 4 years of amazingness.
Did you see the Trump video of her saying that? Oh no, there's nothing I would change, and it's like 50 million.
Like, that's what I was going to say. I listened to Trump on that Flagrant, and watching his rallies are tough for me. You know, just
the
watching
way
him up
he is.
And but when he's on a one-on-one in a podcast or interview, I'm like, dude, this is great.
Yeah.
But when he's up there on his rallies and for some reason, man, I can't watch it. I can't get down.
Well, I do watch it all because I want to know, because he's taken out of context so much, and so he's got so many sound bites that are just horrific, you know. But just like we were watching today, JD Vance on that interview with the lady
from ABC.
ABC, and she was saying, you know, well, it wasn't the entire. Trump says all this bad stuff.
Just the whole town's getting ran over.
Town. With Venezuelan gangs and stuff. And
no, it's a couple apartment complexes. That's enough.
Which is alarming.
Yeah, that should be alarming for the United States.
I think that you're missing the point that Trump exaggerates the point, because it's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal, no matter what.
No matter what, it's a huge deal. And if you need
full apartment complexes,
right?
Like, no, that's not going to work.
And then I waited for her answer to see what she was gonna, if she had a rebuttal, and it was just fact checking him on what Trump said again. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, digging it's into terrible.
Well, Trump said this. Trump said that.
She's not like, oh, you're right, JD Vance. It was a couple of apartment complexes. And let me tell you this too: on the Aurora, Colorado, when Trump was there was a lady that was from Aurora, that complex in particular, one of those complexes in particular, and she got up on there and talked, and she made me cry, because she was saying, you know, that I'm more of a liberal person, and I was over here screaming like, you know, they mean well, and the borders don't have to be closed. And she's like, and now I had to have my best friend move me out of an apartment I was terrified to live in. They came knocking at my door. She said she had different rental properties, and she's had to deal with the gangs on the rental properties.
Yeah, dude. But that's how a lot of these people are. Until it directly affects them, they seem to not give a shit.
I know.
And I'm like, dude.
I know. Which is, you
know, and like you sent me that a news clip of the lady in Colleyville right down the street.
She was robbed,
dude.
In Colleyville, and then they let the guy go, and then he ended up murdering somebody. I want to say in San Antonio. There's also reports of the Venezuelan gang recruiting Houston kids, you know.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of the parents are complaining that, you know, their kids are being recruited to these gangs.
Dude, I didn't know that.
I mean, it's terrible. There was another report which I had seen this kid months ago. He's only 18 years old. He got busted sneaking immigrants across the Texas border. Well, he just got busted again in a car accident. He's in El Paso. In a car accident, he's only 18. Yeah. He hit somebody. I don't know what happened to the other people, but he had 4 more immigrants in the car with him. So now he's doing some time. But he came out and said that they recruit teenagers on Snapchat and TikTok. They tell them that they can make $200 and $300 sneaking these immigrants.
Well, there's a movie Sicario. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, that's good.
I watched the second one the other day, and I was like, dude, this is basically what's going on right now. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, and you know,
where's Benicio when you need him?
Right. I love him. You hear these things like, oh, you know, there's a town in California where cops are afraid to go in. But it's just so fleeting. And you think, oh, you know, that's not true. Or, oh, that. And this was years ago when I heard that. And sure enough, there's towns in California the police are scared to go to. So what does that mean for us? You know?
It's just, I know.
I just pray
if
that
it continues to go down that road, it's just going to get scarier and worse and worse.
Which brings
We're
me
just
to,
seeing the tip of the damage right now.
I know. It's only been
Jeez.
3.5 years.
Jeez, dude.
So all of those people could be laying low. And there's a lot of
terrorist talk.
yeah. about Election Day and
there was the one guy who
all that jazz.
Yeah, there was the one guy who got arrested that was planning on doing a terrorist attack during Election Day.
Right.
So it's
right. But I'm saying, there's a million laying low.
Right.
Like there's got to be.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense for there not to be. So
and that's what I was listening to as well on Sean Ryan's show. Is he had a guy on there that was what was he? He was in SEAL Team 6, I think maybe.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, but he was talking about how things are good right now for the terrorists. Why not continue to lay low and then when they shut the border, attack?
Right.
Because I was like, hasn't there been any kind of attack?
Right.
And it's going to be so coordinated.
They're planning it out.
Yeah, dude.
Because they're military. I mean, if you think about it, these gangsters are set up just like
the military.
Just like the gangs in New York were so organized. The mafia.
Oh, the mafia, yeah.
I mean, they've got these patterns down. They've been dealing drugs through the states for 40 years or more. I mean, they know what they're doing.
Right, which is awesome. One of my favorites is that Michael Franchise, who was a top captain for, I think, the Gambino crime family. But he's out now, and he's changed his life around and he preaches and stuff. But he's been on a lot of podcasts. He's a smart dude.
Cool.
He was bringing in billions
at
one time, but he's on there and he keeps talking about it, and he's like, I see a lot of similarities.
It's the exact same scenario.
Yeah,
it's the exact same play, just like we're realizing that like P. Diddy learned the exact same play from the government. I just feel like there's these organized
everything's organized now.
Yeah, I know.
And it's
meanwhile
bigger than
we're
you
out
ever thought.
Yeah, totally. And so frustrating and sad, but there's gonna have to be, I mean, a spiritual and a physical, like repentance, and they're going to be dealt with. The government, I think, is running scared because they realize that people are starting to see these systems, and we're starting to go, wait a second, we shouldn't have to pay for this if we're unsafe.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to pay for this if this isn't where we want our money to go.
Racketeering, like on a whole
Big
other
time.
level. Yeah.
I know. So, I mean, in a way, I feel really just relieved and grateful that things might be coming to a head like that, although it'll be very scary, I'm sure. I do have a feeling, and I know in my heart they're going to get us into nuclear war before they'll let this election be won by Trump.
You think so?
I do, because they're still, like, Israel still hasn't done a counterattack in Iran, from the last one. Well, then I think it was like 2 days ago, Iran did another drone attack in the middle of Israel.
Yeah.
And Israel doesn't normally sit back and just let that kind of stuff go. So they're planning strategically what their next attack is going to be. Well, meanwhile, it's all over the news that America is providing the bombs and the defense.
Yeah.
And Iran keeps saying that they will attack America.
Yeah,
that's against whatever the rules of war are.
Well, yeah, I mean...
So I'm like, well, shit.
It seems
they are doing it on purpose.
America and Israel are so intertwined that, like, it would make sense if I don't know. It's shit scary, man.
It's very deep. It's very hard to understand because there's also a religious aspect to
very
it.
Intricate.
Very intricate. We also have a lot of government ties and responsibilities to Israel for some reason.
Like the dude says, there's a lot of ins and outs, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of what have yous, And
if that's the case, though, and they've been doing all of this stuff for all of these years, and we've just had the illusion of choice, then it's bound to go bad. Like, it's just bound to go bad. And I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. But I mean, we can concentrate on our family and our love and our relationships and how we're living, and that's all that you have control over.
Yeah.
But it is pretty obvious that things are going to come to a head.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, at some point it seems like it has to, dude.
Yeah. And I think their movies, just like Hollywood, I think they've been gearing us up, getting us ready.
Predictive programming.
Yes.
Yeah.
The war movies. I mean, even that last Netflix one that Obama did.
Well, it's like I sent you the trailer to that, the one about the white supremacy.
Yes.
And I was like,
so ridiculous.
Okay, Hollywood.
I know. I mean, yes, that's horrible. And yes, there's fringe groups like that. But man, that's not what's happening right now.
Yeah. What happened to the Forrest Gumps and the John Hughes films?
I know. Those were back in the day when things were good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, it's definitely, I'm just prepping. I'm praying and prepping a lot.
It's pretty wild, man. I mean, I haven't really dived a lot into the foreign affairs lately, just because of the election, but like I need to kind of jump back in there and see. Still don't know what's going on in Ukraine right now.
Well, that's the thing, that's still happening in Ukraine. The war is still happening in Ukraine, and then they're sending as many nuclear weapons as they can with Israel.
Yeah.
Everybody's gearing up. I mean, there's literally no other place for it to go. We already know Russia has nuclear power. We have been told that Iran has nuclear power. The only saving grace they say is that if they use it, that it also harms their people.
Well, see, and this is my thing, is if nuclear Armageddon started kicking off, the aliens are going to come and shut that shit down. Yeah. Because we didn't know about, I mean, it's 1947 after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yeah. They started showing up. Yeah. And there's been reports and reports of them flying over nuclear facilities and shutting off their...
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Well, because my theory is this, okay? My theory is that if we had nuclear Armageddon here, there's no way that it wouldn't totally...
affect the planet.
Affect the entire galaxy.
Galaxy, yes.
Yeah, it would have to cause some kind of ripple effect. And I'm not a physicist.
I mean, I don't know.
This is just... But it would have to cause some kind of disturbance in the solar system and maybe even further out. So I could understand if they were coming to visit and trying to shut that shit down.
Wouldn't that be neat though if it came to that point and all of a sudden the nuclear weapons didn't work?
Yeah, they just dude, how
so
what
cool.
We should. Oh man, I want to write that movie script. That'd be dope.
We should. And then right after that, the clouds part and Jesus comes. They're all working together.
Yeah. He's like, I'm with my people.
I'm just saying, crazier things have happened.
Yeah, anything's possible at this point.
Anything, literally anything.
But I genuinely believe that they really started showing up after, the nuclear...
It makes sense.
Bombs started going off.
Yeah, and the Hiroshima, I mean, that changed the world. That changed everything. That made America realize that they could destroy other places.
Yeah, dude. Well, see, that's why I was saying, man. I was watching that clip about geoengineering and weather warfare.
Okay, so you're gonna have to tell me about this because I see friends of mine on Facebook. They're like, "Oh, can you believe people think that they can control the weather?" Yeah. And I'm like,
I'm like that too, kind of like.
But you told me about Dubai and how they really do send chemicals up to clouds, to rain or seeding, rain seeding or cloud seeding. Yeah, and I read about that, and that's true. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Let me put my reading glasses on.
So yeah, tell me about what that is.
Turtle. Okay, so it's geoengineering, and it's the Geoengineering Watch director, Dane Wigington, and he's got his own website, and he's been tracking and following these storms for, I don't know, maybe decades. I don't know exactly, but he was originally on General Douglas McGregor's podcast, and he was talking about it. And so he was just saying that Asheville, North Carolina is not an area that normally attracts storms. Right. It's not a big...
Not the floods either.
Yeah, and he said that it was... He says that the storm was directed into that area.
How?
He explains it.
Okay.
But I'm not smart enough to really...
But he thinks that there's a way they can direct.
Well, he says there's patented technology... and the meteorologist community just flat out denies it. Yeah. He said they're not hiding it. It's happening and people can track it and we're noticing, but they're just flat out denying it. Because they don't want to lose their pensions and their paychecks.
Oh.
And he's like, and he's pissed about it. He's like, this is criminal. You know what I mean? But yeah, he said patented technologies, and they've been doing this weather modification since at least the 60s.
Yeah.
Apparently they had Project Popeye, and that's where they were controlling the precipitation in Vietnam during the Vietnam War.
I gotta look into that.
And then I watched a video, and it is LBJ's on there, and he said, what did he say? He said, "He who controls the weather controls the world."
I did see that.
Yeah, and that's LBJ back in the 60s.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Well, then doesn't it make sense, though, if Hiroshima happened and we started to see alien spacecraft and say the landings are real, I mean, that guy came on the damn Congress and said they had alien life.
Oh, Tim Burchett? No. Oh, yeah.
No, with the UAP guys. But... if they have that kind of technology and have reverse engineered anything, there's no telling what kind of things they can do.
Weather modifications
that we don't know about.
Who knows? Well, see, and then check this out. Apparently, and I didn't know this, but apparently when Dubai got hit, like we were talking about last time with all that rain, just days before that, they had announced that they were ditching the US dollar for their currency.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so my question to you when we talked about that was, what about the people that are engineering this? They have families too.
That's what he was asking about. He was asking about that.
Are they not getting rained on? Are they not getting the toxins from the sky?
Yeah, because he was saying they're also...
drinking the bad water.
Yeah, they're also putting pathogens and stuff into the air. What did he say, pathogens? What was the word he used? I think it was pathogens. Chemicals.
Yeah.
They're putting chemicals into the air, and it's affecting crops and all this stuff. And they said, like, you know, if these people are in control and cahoots of it, like the Lockheed Martins and the Raytheons, if they have this patented technology and they're doing it, his thing was like, well, we're obviously dealing with psychopaths. Like, these people are not sane; they're insane.
Right.
But they got to have some kind of safe zone for them,
which is what I was saying, like all the billionaires building bunkers and stuff, they might think
that
they're going to actually outlive a nuclear war or the
we legitimately see billionaires and very high up wealthy people building bunkers,
and they have,
and we know
for
about
years
it.
And
so
years
it's
and
like
years. And a lot of people have, actually. It's not just the elite. There's a lot of people that have sunk money into building bunkers because they do believe this is going to go down.
Well, the way he made it sound like was that they have the technology to block these hurricanes, but instead of blocking them, they're directing them into certain areas.
What is that?
And there were 2 hurricanes that had hit Acapulco, Mexico, around the same time as Helene.
Yeah.
So and then he said it's very interesting because, you know, the oil industry in the Gulf of Mexico seems to get bypassed every time, and it never goes over the oil fields, and so I thought, I mean, that was pretty. Well, like they said, there's a bunch of lithium in North Carolina, and people don't want to sell their lands.
Yeah.
So I mean, like we were saying last time, it's kind of seems like a Hawaii situation.
Right.
But and then on top, and I'm just throwing it out there, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I think a lot of people in North Carolina are red and wanting to vote for Trump as well. And so I've heard them talk about that. Well, like, how are these guys going to vote? Obviously, Trump's like, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about saving people. So,
well, I mean, the thing
there could be multiple agendas.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. It sounds like there's just a bunch of agendas, and they've all just been circulating. And for some reason, COVID really exposed how I think the way that we all shut down the way we did, and then started to get curious as to why we were all. Yeah, I think that was probably the biggest mistake they could have made if they wanted to keep the illusion of choice going, is to have that COVID release.
So boys and girls, it's not just nuclear warfare; it's bio warfare and weather warfare
and spiritual warfare.
Well, I'm just saying there's a couple angles.
Scarier.
Yeah, there's a couple angles going on here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the weather warfare I was listening to, and like I said, he's got his name's Dane Wigington, and he's got his own website that you can actually go on to, and it's geoengineeringwatch.org.
Okay.
You know, so it's pretty
I'll have to look.
pretty
that up.
interesting.
Yeah, because I have heard that, and of course when Hawaii happened.
Yeah, that was
I
very
heard that.
sus.
Yeah, because they were
Super
saying
sus.
that it was. I mean, the residents.
It's
Again,
still sus.
It was the residents. It wasn't like everybody else. It
Yeah.
was them saying, "We've
Oprah-
never seen a fire like this. We've
Oprah's
never."
patch didn't get hit.
Right.
You know what I'm
Neither
saying?
did Zuckerberg's.
Yeah.
Neither did Zuckerberg's.
Interesting, dude.
But-
that still seems sketchier than
And
the
it's a
hurricane to me.
Maui, so it's an island.
And it just caught
It
fire.
only
and
caught
way
the
it caught fire.
bottom.
Yeah, dude.
Which was Lahaina, which was
That's-
the oldest
That's so sus.
beachfront property.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so sus.
And they're still not back in their homes.
No,
And, a
and we
lot
don't
of
hear
them
shit about
don't hear a peep.
Keep Lahaina
You can
alive.
hardly even Google it. There's one guy that I follow that, and I ordered that lady's book that talked about it. But
Yeah.
I mean, you have to really dig
for
to see what was going on.
That's super sketch.
Yeah,
The whole situation.
I know. So
Blue roofs. You gotta have a blue roof.
yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, the thing is that like the crazier everything sounds, the more people were like, "Oh, that's ridiculous."
Yeah.
Now I'm like, no, I don't think it is ridiculous.
Right.
Actually,
Right.
Like there might be something to it.
Well, the word of the day, boys and girls, is misinformation.
Yes, misinformation.
I hear that word
disinformation.
more than any other word
That's
right now.
because they're
on
going
the news.
to.
Misinformation.
They're going to take away our right. to
When
free
you
speech.
listen to KJP on there at the
Oh,
press
Lord.
conferences, she keeps spitting out misinformation. And I
Oh.
heard Biden say it the other day.
It's the new word I
Misinformation.
told you.
Yeah, dude, they're gonna.
It's the new word.
It's gonna shut down that free speech.
And did you see the Tucker and Elon interview where Elon's like, I'm screwed.
Yeah,
Like,
if I get if she wins,
I'm going to jail.
Yeah, and they was laughing about it.
It's true.
I know,
you know?
man. I
But
know.
then you have Elon who actually runs like half the fucking space world. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if they're going to actually
Yeah.
do anything to him because of the things he's accomplishing. Who knows?
Dude, when they want to take somebody down, it seems like they'll take them down.
Well, how come Elon's not? I mean, maybe he is the Antichrist. We don't know. But how come Elon's not, on their side? Like, he hadn't been roped into this elitist
that's what I was saying.
mentality yet.
Well, and I was watching
and
the video of his
tried.
new robot that he came out
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
And when I was watching that, I was like, thank God he's
Yeah.
not with the establishment over here that's trying to take down humanity.
But that's what I want to
Because
know.
that would be
Because
easy.
he's been a young kid in the big tech gang for a long time. There's
Right.
no way you can tell me that they have not approached him, whoever they are, a million times over to get wrapped up with that.
Oh yeah, sure.
And that's why I'm like, why don't they just say? Why don't they stop protecting names? Like, I want Elon to say the names. I want,
yeah.
Epstein list to be.
Whoever is
I just
whoever.
want people to start saying the names because they know.
The who's.
The P Diddy people, everybody just start.
Start
Yeah, it was
dropping
Jay-Z. Yeah, it
names.
was Beyonce. Yes, it is this. Yes, it is that. So that we know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everybody's
because
being protected. I don't know. I don't know.
are.
Yeah, they're super protected. I mean,
Which
but
is
dude,
strange.
I watched that video of the robots that he's coming out with.
Pretty cool.
What?
And the
It's-
taxis that drive themselves.
Yes, the
That's
big taxi.
brilliant.
People kept comparing it to the movie I, Robot with Will Smith.
Yeah.
And dude, it seems pretty close
Yeah.
to it, man.
I like his tweet or whatever where he said the future should look like the future.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool that he's
Yeah.
like taking it to that level.
With that really sweet Cybertruck.
I know, it's so
God, it's
ugly.
so
And
good
they're all
looking.
over here too. I see them.
Yeah,
all
I'm
the
seeing them
time.
everywhere now.
Mhm.
Of course they are.
And then I saw a meme that said no one's ever gonna have a classic Cybertruck. Like they're never gonna invest in that like they do muscle cars.
What? I didn't even realize that his goal right now was to be able to catch the rocket after it shot up into space.
I had no idea.
I didn't know, and then I
it
saw
on
it.
TV.
I was like, "Whoa!" He actually caught it instead of it falling into the ocean.
Ryan and I were watching it in Cisco, and we're like, "Holy
Goes right back to it.
crap!"
Yeah,
I mean,
Pretty
that's
interesting.
amazing.
they said that was his 5th try.
Yeah, and he does reusable spaceships. That was his whole thing.
Yeah,
that
he's
he
trying
wanted
to-
to reuse,
Yes,
and so that we didn't
so he
leave
can
the
reuse
litter.
that rocket, and
Yes.
it doesn't go in the ocean
Yeah.
with the ocean aliens.
I mean, exactly. Yeah.
That's
so it doesn't upset the ocean aliens because
Yeah.
they're gonna really cause
Yeah.
some issues
Wanna
too.
see- well,
when they
don't-
come
don't-
out of Antarctica from.
Atlantis.
I mean, Atlantis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm kind of ready for all this shit to pop off though. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see what happens for sure. Like I said, I've always been pretty into extraterrestrials because I'm an extraterrestrial.
I know you have, and it used to bother me because I was like, no. I mean, although I'm not so shallow-minded that I do think that there's a lot more going on than we know. And I think that God is a big enough God to create all kinds of things. Like, I'm not putting him in a box or anything.
That's how I see it. I see if there are aliens out there, then, I mean, there's one source that creates everything. It's a creator.
Yeah, there's a creator.
I like to call him the architect.
Yeah, I like that too. I like the source. The source of all things.
Let me ask you a question. I was watching a video and it was showing a pastor, and he was talking to another pastor, and he was talking about how his name was actually Yeshua.
Yes.
And so I've started using
Yahweh.
those two words instead.
Yeah.
But like, they were talking about how Jesus wasn't really even a name until.
Right.
But he made an interesting point. He said, why did they change Jesus's name? Because your name, if you went to Tokyo and said, I'm Stephanie, they would call you Stephanie.
Right.
You ever thought about that?
Yeah.
Like, your name wouldn't change in different languages.
Well, a lot of times in biblical purposes, a name change represents before salvation and after salvation. So like the Paul thing, Saul was walking on the road to Damascus when he encountered Jesus Christ, or encountered the Holy Spirit, and then he was changed.
Bam, your name is Paul.
Yeah, pretty much. And he was changed from hunting Christians to preaching Christianity.
Right, okay.
I mean, it was a huge change. So usually that represents a shift in the human being. Just like when we were baptized, you might not remember Catholic, but we were given new names. Like, if you could ever find the little baptismal thing, I don't know, I think I have mine. I don't remember what it was, but like mom's was St. Teresa. So a lot of times when you're baptized, they give you a Catholic name or a biblical name.
I was 2, so
yeah. Well, I'm just saying, but it represents.
I just thought that I found that fascinating because he made a point.
Yahweh.
He was like in Yeshua.
Yeah, in Yeshua.
Which he said would actually translate today to Joshua, but there was no J's back then.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and there's another part, something about it just being a vowel sound.
Yeah.
That it wasn't the word for God or the word for Jesus has never, like you said, been like an actual word, that it was a vowel sound. It was just like a, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why, and which I was going to say, which is one of the reasons why all that is integrated too, because when you meditate and you do that frequency thing, you can tap into something that's higher.
I fell asleep last night to some high frequency music.
Did you?
So I feel a little more home today.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Me too. I've actually been pretty positive. I got a little wrapped up, not too long ago about, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. But now I'm kind of like,
it's easy to do that.
I know.
It's easy to be like, holy shit.
And also, like, where are we going to go from here? And is there going to be a civil war? And, and like, how can we, make a good quality of life? How are our kids going to afford their own home? Like, you get wrapped up into all these things.
Yeah.
But then, again, this could be God's way of just taking his hands off everything and going like,
right,
let's figure it out.
Well, that's why I'm like,
not taking his hands off.
I'm not married. I don't have kids, but I don't really want to be planted so much. I'm a free spirit, man. I kind of want to roam and go stay here and stay there.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about like even buying a home. You're kind of putting yourself into the system to be owned by the banks. Because you're getting a mortgage and a loan from the bank to get the house.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't really own the house.
No, you don't. No. No, you can invest and sell things and make money off of it, but it's so true. I mean, just like your social security number is just a part of the government.
Yeah.
I mean, all we really are is just a stamp.
Well, I heard them calling each person is a corporation or something.
Yeah.
And then the United States is a corporation.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I was thinking about that, and I was like,
had systems of order. Systems were meant, just like God is a God of order. There is supposed to be a beauty to order, but for some reason it's been captured.
Yeah.
And turned
infiltrated.
And it's just worked against us,
Yeah, it's certainly evil behind it.
Certainly.
Very nefarious, maleficent. How do you say that?
I don't know.
Maleficent. Maleficent.
I don't remember.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But yeah, and so that's the other thing.
Malevolent.
That's it. You got it.
Got it.
That was going to drive me crazy.
I know, same here.
But yeah, so, and it's just like on an individual level, we're all our own little universe. And how do we, become the better person that we can be our best possible version?
Yeah.
Well, if you take that times how many people are on earth and we're all trying to do the same thing, hopefully, times all of the systems,
collective
consciousness, yes. And it's like, we've got a lot of work to do, apparently.
But I mean, that's the thing, is all this stuff is being exposed, and there's so many things that were I rolled and said, oh, what a conspiracy theory, that it's like, dude, it's actually coming true.
Yeah.
So.
And it actually makes a lot more sense that there would be people like, say, the elites and the globalists, and that makes a lot more sense, some of the stuff that's happening.
Yeah, and why it's happening.
Why would this be happening?
Yeah, it's a better reasoning for it.
Than just our school systems went to shit for no reason, or our taxes are going away for no... I mean, people are in charge of this. They have an agenda, and we're just now
to
starting
keep people
to see
dumbed down
and
and control the population.
Yeah, I guess so, because if you think about it, if the population ever turned against you, I guess it could get pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more of us than there is of them.
Right.
Right. So.
I want to know, like, what's behind it?
Maybe it's
what exactly is going on?
I know. Well, I think like so many of these shows we watch, I think there's many different systems.
Well, and a lot of people want to know what that.
Well, that's true too. But I mean, I think that there's, like you said, there's the corporate system, and there's the money system, and there's the school agenda system, and there's the technology system.
So many agendas.
So maybe they're all just working together.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
It seems like it would be something like that.
Yeah.
Like there's just super nefarious people that are pushing all these agendas
and they have the money to do it.
Yeah, because we're all on a freaking monetary system that I start thinking about it and I'm like,
dude, I wish we could just live off the land.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like it any more than the next person being stuck in a house and feeling like you're married to this. Yeah.
Or owned or married to the system.
Married to the system.
That's why I'm like, dude, I don't, forget buying a house.
Right, yeah. Well, a lot of people are.
I'd rather get my RV and just,
travel the world.
Be a rambling man.
Well,
Lord, I was born a rambling man.
Get on it.
I am. I'm trying to make money.
I know. But you're right. It is a part of the system. It is anything that ties you back to the banking and you do. I mean, I always thought that too. Whenever we bought a house, when Ryan and I bought the house, I'm like, well, we don't actually own the house,
right?
He's like, yes,
it's our house.
And I'm like, okay, but I mean, I know my mom was a hippie, and she would say stuff like that. I'm like, we don't necessarily. There's not a whole lot we can control besides our own stuff and what we grow or what we eat or what we buy.
I just want to hit the road and live off room service.
Well, why don't you? What I was thinking the other day is you could go.
I'm doing it.
But you could go work wherever you land too. There's a lot of times you can just get a job. I mean, you have your arts, right? So you sell your art, but then you also, work to pay the bills for the RV or whatever.
We're figuring it out. We're working on it.
Yeah,
we're working on it. I'm definitely more of a gypsy.
Yeah.
Than anything. So I've tried to embrace that.
I think I would be too if I wasn't a woman. I think as a woman you gotta.
Well, when I wasn't embracing that, and I was trying to do this, and it just made me depressed.
Right.
So now I'm kind of like in this zone where I'm like, I'm just gonna embrace who I am.
100%.
So.
That's the whole point. And I mean, that really is the whole point.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to do what you love. You got to do what you're good at. God gave us individual, I think, gifts. And, just like flowers is my passion. And, other people have different passions. Some people have a passion for business and they want to be involved in all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So to each his own. But I think that no one's going to be happy unless they're authentic to themselves. Yeah.
Kamala.
Did you hear all
Authenticity.
her new accents? Oh, and then Obama calling the black guys out, the brothers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I thought it was rude.
Yeah, I know. I would be pissed.
Rude.
I'd be pissed because it's another example of how stupid they think we all are.
I know. That they just assume everyone's going to fall into line.
Yeah.
And I love it. Keep talking that nonsense because we're going to rebel.
Right. Well,
everyone's going to rebel.
He got a lot of flack back on it.
Thank God.
Finally.
Yeah.
So, no, I know. It was
like,
ridiculous.
you just don't want a woman to be in charge.
Yeah.
No.
Playing the
Not
misogyny
this
card.
one, not
Playing
this woman.
No, yeah. It doesn't, yeah.
No. Now you put Tulsi Gabbard up there to run, or somebody that has a leadership attitude. Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you could get behind it.
Yeah.
You know, but you can't just have a willy-nilly anybody.
No.
Trying to represent.
Obviously a puppet.
I know.
And can't speak.
She's not very likable, and even if I wasn't gonna vote for her, I know I was sitting back the other day watching all of her little clips, and I'm like, you know, she's just not somebody you're attracted to liking.
She don't have the pizzazz.
She doesn't have the Oprah, you know, she doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
She's just sort of like, she's kind of a snob too.
She's a little entitled. She seems very entitled.
Very.
Because, like, I was listening to her career, the history of her career, and she's gotten handed quite a bit, dude. I
heard that she doesn't really work hard. Like, she was only the attorney general or something, or anyways, it was a prosecutor, a county prosecutor. When she didn't get her way in that job, she was only there 2 years and went to another one. And she just didn't really hang in there and
really work for
put her roots down.
So it's incredible how she's gotten to where she's at.
And she's only been married to that
Doug Emhoff.
The one that apparently hits people, women.
Yeah, he's.
She's only been married to him for like 10 years, I think.
Right.
So it's like, what'd she do all this time?
Well, she dated Montel.
Okay,
That's
not a bad looking guy.
That was a long time ago. No, I know. Some swag. I'm just saying.
But she also didn't register to vote until she was 29. I did hear
that too. Yeah.
She also has a she grew up in Canada, not America.
Yeah.
She also has a very strange past, just in general. But it's kind of like the Obamas and there's Gavin Newsom's and the people that just suddenly are leaders for no damn reason. Yeah,
because they're appointed.
Yeah, they're established.
I think Obama is a CIA asset.
I think that Obama is. I think P. Diddy was. I think that all of the MK Ultra thing, I think that opened their eyes to how much they can control people with the media, with propaganda, with drugs.
Dude, I'll watch.
They put crack in the middle of African American neighborhoods. They did that. They did that on purpose.
I know.
They've done that to a lot of low income.
And people are now realizing and learning about that.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. It's dude. And then like that's like I'll watch even when I listen to music from the 90s, it was so different, dude. Mm-hmm. And it was different, dude. It even in 20 years, the music industry has just been like into more mind control tactics. And you can tell when you open your eyes up to it and you start realizing, listening to music from like the 80s, you're like, it was so much more upbeat and peaceful.
And also like, intricate and talented.
Not all shake your ass.
Well, it's funny you say that because again, with Miss Cherie, I mean, the lessons that woman taught me in the middle of my discipleship when I was saved. She taught me so many lessons like that though, but she used to not let us play anything but Christian music, and the rebel in me, I was just like, that's so stupid. Like, what is your point? Well, one day she got talking about it, and she said, I feel like other music or music that doesn't uplift your mind and soul, it's on purpose, and it's just to get your body moving and just to make you want to carnal. It's carnal. Yeah, it makes total sense now that I'm older. When I was young, I was like, you're crazy, girl. I'm gonna
diving into the right. Well, that's what I don't know. You can just tell even in 20 years how much it's changed. Yeah. And it's either you listen to a lot of the rappers today.
Well, some of them.
A lot of them talk about. Yeah, no, there are great ones.
Yeah.
But a lot of them talk about suicide. I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like
and
the younger,
lot of them committed suicide.
Yeah.
Or OD'd on drugs.
Yeah, they talk about taking all this.
Xanax was a big deal. Dude. We lost a lot of people to Xanax.
Yeah, man. And I've noticed that.
Mac Miller, and then I loved him.
Yeah, he was good. And then you got you know, a lot of the pop stars, and it's just sex.
Well, like that Sexy Red, and that's what Candace Owens and other people are pointing out, is that what makes you think that we want that music?
Yeah, I want to listen
Who
to
is
that.
appointing? When you have, there are brilliant musicians. You can go almost anywhere on Spotify or local.
They're everywhere.
There are brilliant.
Touring,
Why would they not be
on the
most
radio
famous
stations?
I know.
I don't.
It's pretty obvious.
It is when you because there's so much great music out there.
So many.
That nobody's
and even
pushing.
rap.
They're not pushing.
You know me,
same
I'm
with
a
rap.
hip hop lover. I love that
Yeah.
stuff. And there's some amazing songwriters, amazing
Yeah.
rappers. But they're not going to be.
Yeah, they're not out there in the mainstream airwaves.
Yeah, they're not
It's
going to be.
it's very crazy, dude. And it's like,
Well, hopefully the mainstream airways will go away completely.
yeah,
Like, who's
and
still listening to all of that
right,
shit?
iHeartRadio. And
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I guess some people.
I've been listening to some old school 50s, like the
Mhm.
Ronettes.
Mhm.
The Ronettes.
That's good.
From Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, they're good. And
That's some old, but it was so much about just love and passion.
Love and passion.
You know, and it's just changed so much.
Yeah,
dude.
and you
It's
and
crazy.
your hearts and
Yeah.
loving with your
Yeah.
soul and
And even the 80s was like that.
yeah,
You know, and it's changed so much, man.
yeah.
It's definitely some kind of subliminal.
Overall.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's crazy.
But you know, I think that if any generation was gonna really, well, I don't know. I was gonna say ours because we were still in the middle of like being innocent and not realizing that the government had
90s.
this control. Yeah. But we're also smart enough to wake up to it, where maybe some of the kids nowadays
Yeah.
are under such control, you think, of computers.
It seems like
I don't know.
It seems like a lot of Gen Z are pretty smart. And
Yeah,
they're
they are.
pretty waking up.
Yeah.
Dude. You know,
And they're
like,
being pretty rebellious too. It's
Yeah.
that spirit in you,
Yeah.
that like, something's wrong.
yeah, we don't want to do this.
Like, why do we want to go along with all of these silly things
Yeah.
that the government wants us
Just
to
out
do?
of this prefabricated issues.
Well, and like, I was watching something else that was talking about communism and what's the point of communism and why would anyone agree to that? And come to find out, it's because not everyone wants to think for themselves.
Yeah,
I mean, some
There are a
people
lot of
really
people-
do want to
Well,
just
that's
be
the-
given orders.
that's what it seems like. They've tried to make people lazier
Mhm.
to where they're like, yeah, you handle it, you take care of
Exactly.
it. You know what I mean?
That's probably the whole point.
yeah.
Yeah.
To where they can control.
Yeah.
It's
So
more like, if you think about it, you know, Stalin back in the day, he was forcing these people to live in that kind of situation
right.
where they probably smarted up and said, we can brainwash them to want to live like that.
Well, right. You instead of forcing
Yes.
them, you make them just
Yeah.
like these damn phones.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
man.
we all carry them around, not realizing until recently that it was so they could track every fucking thing that we do.
Yeah, I know.
If they really want to.
Yeah, I know.
They could tap into wherever, you are at any given time. So but we all want them, and we all, I think,
Yeah,
we
I'm
need them.
hooked. I'm hooked on it. Yeah.
Although it's kind of neat that if you were to take all this technology away, most of us would learn to be happy without all of it. I mean, it wasn't that long ago when you and I were in Mom's house without the electricity on, having to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that some of us would adapt pretty well,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
and we might have to make the choice to get this out of our life anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Things are gonna change.
Migrants, and it was
Cat and Ron. You were talking about Cat and Ron taking
yes.
control.
And how because Hurricane Helene went
Yeah.
through, and I guess they kind of depended on FEMA and stuff a lot more but he was prepping for
The second, what was it called? Milton.
So I saw him on TV saying, you know what, we'll let FEMA know if we need FEMA.
Yeah,
And he ended up showing up with workers from all
Yeah.
over the country.
that's why I call him Cat and Ron.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to show each individual state
Yeah, that
what
you
they
can take
do.
control.
Right.
Which
And
is brilliant.
so
Man.
smart, and that's where we're going to head.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that's where we're
We
going
are
to
the
head.
United States.
States, and state by state we'll figure out, okay, I'm going to take
Yeah.
care of my people. And thank
I
God
like-
we're in Texas.
I like me some Cat and Ron.
Yeah, I know. He's a good person.
Yeah, he's a doer.
He's also just really what do you call it? Just simple.
Yeah.
The things he
doesn't-
says is so simple.
Yes, and it's straight to the point.
Yeah.
He doesn't bullshit.
I know.
He's not a bullshitting politician.
Which I did hear another wise old quote about how the most the most wise people in the world have very few words to say. So
Oh,
when
yeah.
you can hear Kamala
Yeah.
and people like that, and you're like, oh, that's the opposite of wisdom. When
Yeah.
you're having to say all these different words just to make one point. Even when I read all my books, I love authors that just can say something so
Right.
big in a matter of 3 words. You're like, wow.
It's interesting because like knowledge is learned, but wisdom is earned.
Yeah, that's our new logo. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's why, and it was so interesting. It's like the whole debacle between him and Kamala and her trying to throw her weight around, and he's like, dude,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, we got it under control.
I still wish that Trump would shut up and quit saying things like people are stupid. That's really, but because I'm telling you.
I wish he would go chill in Mar-a-Lago.
Right, but
and
still.
not get shot.
He some of the things he says is just not helping the cause.
No.
But I think a lot of people are saying that it's the establishment, the machine against the little people.
That's why I don't like saying Republicans and Democrats and Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
And this is another thing.
Yeah.
I've watched this, when you watch these mainstream news channels and you can see what they're disagreeing on in order to keep us divided, and then you can turn around and you see what they both agree on. And
exactly.
that's the actual agenda. When
Well,
they both,
even
because
like
there's some things.
And all those people that are agreeing to vote Democrat.
Yeah, I know it.
I mean,
Yeah,
how
so
obvious
it's, I mean,
can
really,
you be?
it's establishment, bureaucracy, whatever you want to call them, deep state, and then the people.
Don't you think things just naturally? I mean, things naturally occur to where, like, with this Republican and Democrat thing, for a long time there's been independents or libertarians and people like that, and that's what I would always identify.
I feel like
as.
we're probably more libertarian.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I think mom and dad probably
Little
were
government,
too.
yeah.
Small,
Very small
less
government.
government, better, all that kind of stuff.
Obviously.
But I think it's turning into that, to where, just like everything, the Republican Democrat will eventually be, like you said, the
One
little
party.
people against the system.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting, because you've got lifelong Democrats that are joining Trump's Republican Party, and then you got lifelong Republicans that are joining. It's just how obvious.
Again, I want to know what it is. I want to know what the Democrats, like I'm thinking of a handful of people that I know personally that are going to vote Kamala. They are older, and their main thing are tax cuts, and they've got a lot more assistance from the government when you're in your older age, medications and things like that. But still, I think it's rude. They should still vote depending on the future, not themselves. But I mean, well,
that's the thing, is a lot of these older people don't really care about the future.
Yeah,
it seems
I guess
like.
so.
So it's like they're just like, they're in the now.
Yeah.
What do they call that?
A nihilist?
No. Like
selfish?
No, it's like a gratification, like current gratification.
Self-gratification.
Right now.
Instant gratification
instead of like long-term.
Right.
So,
but even I don't have a lot of ties. I mean, my children are not my biological children.
Right.
And even I want a better future for them.
Well, see, and I think about
it's strange.
I think about my buddies and their kids and stuff,
our nephews.
And I'm like,
we have so many young nephews that are growing up in this world. Thank God they're growing up correctly.
Yeah.
But we want them to have a future.
Right.
But so I don't know. It's selfish.
Or just moralistically altogether, like you don't. I mean, what?
Wouldn't you
You're
want?
just going to drive this place down into the ground?
I know.
You what? I don't understand.
I don't either. But I mean, that's why I want to talk to some more people. I'm going to have to get online and start asking Democrats what their point is, and because I want to know, like, what are you seeing or not seeing?
Maybe I'm not seeing something.
Yeah, maybe I'm not seeing something. So anyway, just food for thought. But.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we just took a little break, and we've already hit over an hour. So we're pretty good at bullshitting with the bullshit.
I guess so.
So.
But yeah, I guess I want to end on, again, just a positive note that we're all starting to see the systems in place and that we can have a higher power. And I personally think that it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
that all these systems are going to be exposed. But yeah, because I just looked down at my paper. It said nuclear war, and I'm like, oh, that's not a very good topic. But anyway, the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah. Zen it
High
up.
frequency people, high frequency.
High frequencies.
Treat each other kind.
Yeah.
Be patient.
Be the change.
Be the change you want to see.
Be the change. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Okay.
This is Unfringed. Out.
Bye.